Good morning. This is Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct. Sorry, we're a few minutes late. My hubby was working on the technical stuff in the background, and you know how that goes. It is time consuming sometimes. So here I am today talking about this lovely poncho that I'm wearing, and it's called Top Note. And I had started it last week, and I finished it this week, and I used two lovely yarns. So the first yarn that I used was this Noro, it's called Sonata, and the colorway was color number 17. It says, it doesn't have a fancy name, but if you look at this yarn, isn't it gorgeous? It's by Noro. And let me tell you what it's made out of. It is made out of 35% cotton, 25% viscose, and that's from bamboo, which we know bamboo has a nice drape to it and it's lovely. And then 20% silk and 20% polyamide to give it a little sturdiness. But you can see how lovely the yarn is. And my poncho feels great. What I did with my particular poncho is I paired it with this lovely halo. And this halo is by the Classic Alpaca Yarn Company, and it's watercolors. And it's a hand-painted yarn, and it's 100% baby alpaca. And it just gives your project a little bit of color, and it gives it some nice warmth because it is made from alpaca. So here I am wearing mine. The only thing I wish I would have done, but it would have been impractical, is when I'm using halo or any hand-painted yarn, it is always wonderful if you can knit a row with one skein and then knit a row with the other skein. Because I was carrying two yarns together, the Sonata and the halo together, alternating every other row with my halo would have meant I needed two skeins of the Sonata. I would have been alternating back and forth. And I just didn't do that, just for I guess to speed myself up a little bit. I didn't want to do that. So, but you can see just a little bit where I changed the colors. It doesn't look bad. It's just, I don't know. I'm too much of a perfectionist, I think.
So everyone's come online.
So good morning, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I know that we're going to probably get some cooler weather this weekend, right, Jim?
Yeah.
And so we can start wearing our knitwear again. So it's lovely. So I am wearing this poncho. And like I said, it's called Top Notes by Petra Breakstone, and it's paid for pattern. And we are, you'll have a link for that, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to take it off and show them. The two edges that I wanted to talk about today are, do you see my top edge? This edge right here, I'm not really pulling it. It's an I-cord bind off. And can you guys see where I joined my I-cord? I'm gonna, can you see it? I just want to show them and see if they can see where I joined my I-cord. If you guys see where I joined my I-cord, could you tell me? I'm just gonna slowly pivot it around and you tell me if you see where the I-cord is joined. Because that's what I wanted to talk today about, how to join your I-cord and make it look really seamless and really nice. So you can't see where it started and where it ended, which I really like projects like that when they're like that. So, and then I wanted to talk about this bottom. And if you look at the bottom, when I did mine, I used the Icelandic Bind Off for the bottom. And if you can see on one side, can you see it? I'm just trying to turn it. Now I'm going to turn it the other way. It gives kind of an I-cord look without being super bulky. And I found that I was afraid that when I did this poncho that maybe the bottom might curl. And I didn't pin anything. I just wet blocked it and I laid it out on a mat. And you could see the bottom. It does not curl. So the only thing I did that was different than the lovely pattern was I did that provisional cast on. Then I picked up my provisional cast on. And then for 3 or 4 rounds, I did the knit 2 purl 1. The same, on the top, it was knit 3. I'm looking at it here. It was either a knit 2 purl 1 or a knit 3 purl 1. 1, 2. It looks like a knit 3 purl 1. But on the bottom, I just did a knit 2 purl 1. And for 3 rounds, and then I did that Icelandic Bind Off. And you can't really see any ribbing down there, but what it did is the ribbing straightened everything out. And also, there's another trick that I like to use when I'm working in a project where it could possibly pull in or curl. I like to add some stitches to the bottom, and especially when I'm doing ribbing. So I'll do knit 2, purl 1, knit 2, purl 1 for, 12 stitches, say. And then on the 13th, when I get to 13th, 14th, and 15th stitch, and I would go knit 1, knit front and back. So I have the knit 2, purl 1, but I've increased 1 stitch. And I just do that maybe 20 times across the whole thing, just increasing the stitch count ever so slightly so it does not pull in at the bottom. And you can see at the bottom, mine does not pull in at all. It's not flared, and it lays very flat. And I used the knit 2, purl 1. I added a few stitches as I was doing the ribbing, and then I did that Icelandic bind off. So it turned out really great. And here is the picture of Petra Breakstone's, the little poncho that she did. And I think she might have used a cotton or a different yarn. I was thinking that would be good yarn to use Pima cotton. This project would be. So also another thing that I didn't look at until I was completely finished is when I was looking on the Ravelry page, it talked about a couple errors that were in the pattern. So don't forget when you go to knit a pattern to look for errata before you start the project. For me, it worked great because I'm kind of small. I'm short. I'm just over a kid size. So a little bit too big for kids and a little bit too small for adults. So I'm right at that terrible in-between size, which makes it impossible to find clothes. But do you see how this goes down to a pretty good length on me, and it feels really good. So I'm going to enjoy wearing this. So for any of you out there that like ponchos, this is a really good one. And I love the pairings of the different yarns that I used. Don't forget, as we're going along, to let us know what you're working on. Maybe you can tell us where you're from. And if you tell us what you're working on, don't forget to give us the pattern name. We love discovering beautiful patterns, and you guys are such talented knitters out there. I know in our VIP group, the ladies are really wonderful at helping each other, and I so appreciate that. So if you can let me know what the pattern names are, then I can use them for future knitting projects for myself, or we can all just enjoy the projects that you're working on so we can learn from you too as we're going along. Yes, Jim? Oh, don't forget to press that like button. Where is that like button, Jim?
It's on the bottom.
It's on the bottom. So don't forget to press the like button. And for those of you who are new to our Technique Tuesday, we have a VIP group, and the VIP group is filled with wonderful ladies that help each other out and share ideas for knitting projects and post their pictures of beautiful projects that they've done. And then we all get excited and run over and try to knit the projects that they're knitting. So it's so awesome. And don't forget, we do have a knit club as well. And the knit club, what I try to do is every month I try to give you some new skills. I like to alternate between I don't know if you guys have noticed or not who are in the knit club, that I like to alternate between giving you a break and then giving you a challenge. So, because I like you to stretch and learn something new. And so that's what that knit club is for. And it has tons of videos. So for those of you who are just new to the knit club, don't forget to check out the videos. And there's little perks that you get, like you get free shipping on subsequent order. Yes, so on any size of order, you'll get free shipping, because one coupon for that, right, Jim?
Each month.
Yes, each month. And then there's other little perks that you get too. You get little sales and little things that the normal Alpaca Direct customers would not get. So joining that knit club is totally awesome. And for that, it's like $35, and that includes all the yarn that you will need to make the project and the instructions. And lots of times I'll do tons of videos, like at least 12 or so,
15
usually.
This month.
Yeah, so there's lots of videos to help you through every step of the way. And I'm trying to be really careful when I'm doing the projects to show you, here's where we are in the pattern, and this is what your project looks like. So you get to see what the picture looks like. So you can say, am I on track? And am I following it correctly? And also, if you have any questions, we always try to answer your questions and help you out of a jam if you get stuck. So it's totally awesome for those those of you who want to learn something new, it's totally fantastic. So here I am. I wanted to talk about two things today. What, Jim?
You want to do the contest?
The contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do. Oh, yes. So every week we have a contest, and I'm looking for, here are the two yarns. So I told you about the halo that I used for my project, and I thought that would be a neat prize for this week's prize. So you guys, if you haven't been on the website before and are not familiar with how we do this, is anytime you post comments in the comment section, you let us know what you're working. Anything that you put in the comment section enters you to win. And then all you have to do if you win is you give us your mailing address and we send it in the mail to you. So for this week, I was thinking that we could offer some halo. And I have two colorways. The one on the left is Carnival, and it's a darker colorway. And then the one on the right is called Atlantis. And it is kind of teal-esque colorway that's very pretty.
What's the company?
This is called Alpaca Yarn Company, and it's Halo watercolors. It's hand-dyed lace-weight yarn, and it's 78% brushed Surrey alpaca and 22% nylon for 257 yards. It's a very nice yarn. I love carrying it around.
They're pretty similar.
Carrying it along with what?
They're pretty similar.
Well, the darker color is Carnival, and the lighter color is Atlantis.
Okay.
So you think of Ocean Atlantis. Anyways, so these are our choices for this week. And so that's what we want to have you help us decide, and then we can get that in the mail to the winner. So again, we're going to be talking about how to finish our I-cord, which is this I-cord here, and then how to do the Icelandic Bind Off, which almost gives you an I-cord edge, but it's not as thick. Do you see how it's not as thick? Let's look at the top here. The top is thicker, and it actually turned out pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with it. I like it. So I'll show you how I did these two things. So I'm going to come over here to my nice little chair, and I think that we could probably, let's see if on, this was I did a provisional cast on here, and then I already picked up my provisional cast on. So let's see if I can find some tail, and I'll do that Icelandic Bind Off first, just so I can get my needle out of the way. I'm trying to get myself enough yarn so I can do this. And of course, it's, you know how yarn is. All righty, I think I got enough. So when you do an Icelandic Bind Off, I have, leave that there. I'm just going to grab some more yarn because it was a provisional cast on. If you are doing it on your project, you will probably have your working yarn already set up and you'll be good. So to start, what I would do is do a knit stitch. Then we slip that stitch back on the left-hand needle. And don't worry, it's a little bit loosey-goosey to start, but it's good. Then the second part of what you do is you take your right-hand needle and you insert it into that first stitch purlwise. And you come up and over and underneath the next stitch and you knit it. Okay? And then you slip that stitch back to the left-hand needle, and that's your repeat. You come purlwise into that stitch, knit that next stitch, and bring it off the needle. Slip that back to the left, and do that. So I'm just going to go all the way. So I'm using the magic loop method, and you'll see what I do when I get to the end, how easy it is doing the magic loop. I use magic loop for everything. So if any of you have not tried magic loop method yet, it's a totally fantastic thing to learn. For one thing, you don't have to have double points to decrease at the top of hats. And you can use that for, I usually like a 47-inch cord for a lot of things because I like to knit sweaters on 47-inch needles, and that way I can try them on as I'm going along, because I almost always do the top down in the round all in one piece, and then I can make sure it's a good fit as I'm going along.
Did you try this one on for you?
Which one?
The shawl.
No, I knew it was going to I knew that it was going to fit. and I did it on a shorter needle. I mean, the shawl poncho type thing is much more forgiving than a sweater. So yeah, I just used it, did it like normal. So here I am, I'm going along. And I really like this Icelandic Bind Off. Whenever you're doing garter stitch, you can use the Icelandic Bind Off. Well, I'm doing ribbing right here, and it looks great with it too. Anytime you want to accentuate the edge a little bit, or like I did the Hugs and Kisses baby blanket, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. And I did the Icelandic Bind Off, and it just makes such a nice edge that is fairly stretchy and just lovely to look at. So I really like it. So we're almost to the end, and then on any of these bind offs, you just have to be a little bit patient with them. And you see how I'm controlling my stitches with more than one finger. I'm using my left thumb to push that up in there so I can have more room. So then when you get to that last stitch, you can just do that, and then you can cut it. And what I did when I did mine this morning, see how that stitch is just a little tiny bit loose? Let's see if I can take my darning needle, and I will show you how easy it is. This doing the Icelandic Bind Off, it's an easier method to actually get your stitches to your ending and your beginning to look better. So what I did when I had these two, I put those together, and then I reached through here with my needle. And actually I want to see if I can get it over here a little closer. I want to get that little tiny loose thread there. And you see how I'm going to take my working yarn and go right back out that way. And just pull it tighter. Do you see how I pulled it to the back? And that is how you can easily get this Icelandic Bind Off to look really good. So when I finish weaving in the ends, it'll look really, really good. And you can see that it looks good on both sides. So that is how you do the Icelandic Bind Off. So let's see if I can move my working yarn back here, just so that I can get over to my other side here. So this is the I-cord bind off, and there's so many different ways to do the I-cord bind off. But basically you want a left leaning decrease for the I-cord, and Petra does hers where she does a knit 2. So I knit 2 stitches and then slip 1 and then knit 1 and then pass that slip stitch over. And then you take all those stitches and put them all back on the left hand needle. And then you would start again, knit 2 and slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Now sometimes with the I-cords, it's not as stretchy. So sometimes when I do an I-cord, I will add stitches before I begin the I-cord, like increase 1 round and then then do the I-cord bind off. And then I find that my I-cord doesn't pull in at all. And that's what I did for the, when I did the, no, I didn't add any extra stitches. I think I just did it on a larger needle, maybe. I'm not sure, but anyways. So this I-cord is a lot bulkier than the Icelandic bind off. So for those of you who are not wanting to have a bulky I-cord, you could do the Icelandic. So I'm just moving along here. So I'm going to knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Move all 3 stitches back to the left hand side. Knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, put those back on the left hand needle, then knit 1 and 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass that slip stitch over, bring those back to the left hand needle, knit 1, and sorry, I needed more yarn, 2, slip 1, and that's purlwise slip, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, grab those. Oops, don't get too excited. We don't want to bind off too many. It won't make the I-cord look good. Oh my goodness. That's what happened. We get over ambitious. Slip that right on over. Here's our slip stitch. We're going to slip her over. And then we'll just put these back on this needle over here. And we're going to knit 1, knit 2, slip 1. Put this needle into position so we can go around this corner. And let's move this junk out of the way here. And we will go ahead and knit 1. And pass that one over. And then slip all 3 back to the left-hand needle. And I'll show you what we're getting toward the end. Then we're going to go knit 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. I always talk to myself. So if that helps you guys learn, I would do that. I don't think it hurts anything. When you're trying to do something like this, don't do it very late at night when you're exhausted, because it's amazing what creative knitting we can do when we get too tired. So just a word of the wise, and because I've done it before, when you get really tired, save this for when you're not tired, because you will have a much better result when you can. And if the dogs are barking and the kids are screaming or whatever, wait until they're in bed and do it or something. Or they're, when you get up early in the morning and it's quiet. We love the early mornings. There we go. We're slipping it on back to the left-hand needle, and you just keep doing this all the way around. Isn't that cool? And then I'll show you how to finish this I-cord. We're almost to the edge. I almost made my sample too big. Oops, what did I just do there? Oh no, that was right. I was good. Sheesh. I thought I was messing up and I wasn't. Okay, so I better keep talking to myself. So I'm going to knit 2. Then I'm going to slip a stitch purlwise. Then I'm going to knit 1. Then I'm going to pass that slip stitch over. All right. Return my, without catching things, return the stitches back to my left-hand needle. Knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass that slip stitch over, return 1, 2, and 3, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. All right, keep on going. We're almost there. We almost did it. Slip 1, knit 1. Pass the slip stitch over. You see that it takes a little more time, but I think, the devil is in the details. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing right. Slip 1, knit 1, pass that slip stitch over, bring those back, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Aha, here we are. Now we are going to do a little fancy stuff. So we need a tail that's at least about 8 inches long. If you make it too long, it's kind of a pain, because then you have all this extra tail that is continuously winding into knots or getting into mischief. All right, so now we have our I-cord edges, and you can see that we have 1, 2, 3 stitches. So what we want to do is join these stitches to this stitch like that. And you can do it basically doing a grafting method. Okay, but what we want to do is we want the first real stitches. So we're going to be grafting that stitch right there and this stitch right here. And then let's turn it and get the first stitch and that stitch right there. So 1, 2, and 3. This right here is where I got a little yarn was not good. Okay, so now if we look at our I-cord bind off instructions, it says give yourself a long tail. Thread the darning needle onto your yarn tail. Now let's graft the two ends together. So first thing I might want to do is, because I'm going to be slipping some stitches off, I will bring that work right on over there. And the first thing that it tells us to do is, let me grab, I'm reading from my paper that I have. Let's see. Got it. So this is our right hand side and this is our left hand side. So we are going to insert our darning needle into the first stitch on the right hand side as if to purl. So we'll do that. All right. And then the next thing, it says now look for the first bound off stitch on the right side. So we look over here on this right hand side. Remember we decided we're going to put it up here and here and here. So we have here and okay, just making sure that my first, that's good. So we're going to put and now let's graft the two ends. Okay, insert the darning needle into the first stitch of the right hand side as if to purl. Now look for the first bound off stitch on the right side. Insert the needle behind both legs of the stitch, and we've done that. Okay. Now we're going to come right back on over to this one, and we go knit off. Okay, and then it says insert the darning needle, thread through the first stitch as if to knit, then take it off the needle. Then go to the second stitch as if to purl. So we're going to set this up just like we're doing the Kitchener stitch, or very similar to it, as if to purl. Oops. And do you see how my yarn got all wound up there? There you go. And what you want to do is you want to pull it tight, but not too tight. All right. And then now insert the darning needle through the second stitch. So we've done the first stitch and we're looking for our second stitch, which is right here. Do you see that stitch? Through both legs of it. There you go. And we'll bring that over. Then we are insert the second stitch as if to purl. Now insert the darning needle through both legs of the stitch. Got it. The second bound off stitch, then knit off. All right, and then we got bound off stitch. Now we are going around to here. And actually we should go on here. This one should be as if to purl, and then this one as if behind both legs, and then as if to knit. Now you have to mess with the stitches and get the gauge. You can sit there and fuss with your gauge, and I would take this loop and pull it through like I did on the other side. But you can see right here, see, this is where we did our grafting. If you just readjust the stitches, you have a beautiful join for your I-cord. And that's what I did. Let me show you what I did. So this one I would have to go up in here and just readjust it just a little bit more, but you could see how the knit stitches are all joined now. So let me show you again on mine. Let's see if I can even find the join. It might be a little thicker somewhere. I might be able to find it better with my, let me just fill again. My joint's right in here. Doesn't that look nice? It looks darn good. So, all right. So that is how you finish off that I-cord edge to make it look good. And it's very much the Kitchener stitch. So you know how I tell you to practice, practice, practice and become friends with certain things like the Kitchener stitch, for instance? This is why, because you can use that same technique for grafting your I-cord edges together, or the ends, the beginning and the end together. So it's totally fantastic. Now, don't forget, you guys, to let us know which color we're going to be giving out for this next week for the prize. This is from the Alpaca Yarn Company. It's called Halo, and we have Carnival, which is the darker color in blues, and then Atlantis, which is the teal color. So you guys vote and let us know which one we should send out. And then for this next week, I'm going to be talking about this book for babies and toddlers. Do you see it at? And it's using comfort yarn and vintage, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, tell me about this.
We're going to have a free book giveaway.
Yes, we're going to have a free book giveaway. We have quite a few of these, and we'll be able to give them away for you guys those of you who want to use the vintage or comfort, Barocco comfort yarns. You can get a book. So this is totally fantastic, and it's in knit and crochet. Now let's take a look for our winner for the last week. Was it the purple? Ah, okay.
It was kind of mixed, but they have a lot of people like blue, a lot of people.
I really like this purple colorway. So this yarn is actually for our winner this week. And let's look and see if we can find who the winner is. Yay! You'll like this yarn. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed knitting with it. Very, very pretty colors. Oh, Joe Morris. Joe Morris, you won. Congratulations. You have yourself some Noro Sonata, which is a cotton silk, bamboo, and polyamide blend by Noro. Very vivid colorway, and I really like this purple. It's one of my favorite colorways that they have. That's why I chose it for my poncho. And plus, I just think purple's pretty.
Tell her what she needs to do to win.
So, Joe, all you have to do is get in contact with customer service, and we can get your yarn out in the mail to you. Lovely, Noro. So you guys have a great week. And this next week, we'll be talking about the Comfort Knitting and Crochet Baby and Toddlers book. So I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.